Void Spirit comes to mind.
Void is a good pick here. Storm isn't terrible.
It's decent. Like they can route him into like an arrow or Dragon Tail would be my concern.
There is stun there.
Maybe just Void Spirit, yeah. I mean, this is NiP, right? So Supreme really likes his Medusa, and it's a decent Medusa game. They go for lifesteal. Okay.
Next first.
Yeah. So they'll save Supreme's hero after. I'm not sure if I'd say Medusa feels too greedy. Like you could make it work.
I think it's greedy.
Lifesteal plays
Quap quite a lot. Quap is one of their top picks, so I wouldn't be surprised by Quap.
But you're running it against probably a DK, right? It's not bad. I guess like you have value rotating elsewhere is the point.
It's not the worst.
No.
Like it's certainly playable.
Yeah, it's you picking a hero that isn't about winning the lane, it's about winning the map. Which I'm in support of. I think this whole idea of like winning your lane, as we said earlier, especially for EU, like teams have understood that winning the lane does not define the game anymore. Ban-wise, so yeah, NiP are thinking like an offlaner still for the side of bait. I think they are believing this DK will be mid and it will be the Ember 1, which does support what bait like to do. There's still... Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I think it's probably going to be an offlane. It's going to be something like...
Yeah.
I like Underlord to a degree.
I was about to say, yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't been banned. Like look at NiP's heroes and think about how many of them rely on being bulky.
Banning the Void. So they think this is an offlane DK, perhaps. I guess they're covering their bases a little bit.
It's also scaling, right? Like if you look at Bait's draft and they somehow have room for a Faceless Void because they put the DK on the offlane, the Ember mid, they kind of scale better than you. And they do have some brutal combos. Like a lot of damage comes out from Fatal Bonds with everything else in the Chrono. So
Be
Bait,
interested to see.
And NiP have kind of left themselves pretty flexible to whatever they want to pick right now. Like they could go more greedy because Lifesteal can play with these other 3 heroes.
They could go very, very greedy. They need a little bit more control, I think. I wouldn't dislike Lina.
For NiP?
Yeah.
Maybe. Like you have saves. I this isn't a bad suggestion. If you said for Bait, I would have like cut you off the cool ones.
Well, it's lucky I didn't say that then.
It's like you have these 2 extremes where like one's pretty decent and the other one is horrific. I like that you bring that up because it's a little bit outside of what most people are thinking of because both teams do have catch, but NiP has a lot of
They've got a good
sustain.
setup with the Mars Spear and then into a Light Striker where Ray is reasonable.
Okay, they go for the DP. That gives them the push power because like right now you got the Chen and that's about it, so that's a respectable pick. And then as the game picks up, Lifestealer can pick up a Deso. Also, he's a really good save for the DP. Like there's multiple ways to sustain this DP. You've got the Sunray, you've got the Hand of God, and you've got Infest. It's pretty hard to kill Death Prophet.
It's a good team fight. They're going to get through this Warlock quite easily. The Fatal Bonds is not going to cause them much of an issue.
And then also Lifestealer dispels, by the way, with the Infest, so like you can get rid of Fatal Bonds on a primary target. So like if your DP is tanking everything and you dispel that, like there's no worry you're going to kill the rest of the team. Final
Does
pick.
Dundee play DK? I've never thought Dundee as a DK player.
He used to be a pretty big DK picker, right? That's back in the classic mid days. You had to know how to play like DK, Quap, and Puck.
Yeah.
And SF. Those were the 4. I think DK was outside the other 3, but like you would pick it.
Yeah, you would pick it, but I don't really remember Puppy picking it from that often back in the day.
No. He usually liked his more flashy heroes. Like not that DK can't be flashy, it's just not meant to be. Okay, there's your more flashy Dendy hero. Yeah.
I was pretty sure that DK wasn't for him. It was going to be an offlane.
Okay. It's not a bad pick here. It gives them that ramp up, I think, because they were a little bit lacking. Like, what's your accelerant in terms of damage off the lane? You are still running an Ember 1, which we've seen most teams move away from. I don't think that's because Ember 1 is necessarily weak. It's just the hero is stronger with early levels.
I think Supreme could do well against him here, though. Push him out of the lane.
I think the big thing for me is rotations and how easily you can.
Yeah, it depends.
Because
it depends what this Chen can do. If the Chen can rotate with a couple of good creeps,
yes,
then that could be very effective.
The other thing to consider is like SF likes any hero that tries to get close to do something. So think something like an OD, for example. An OD is a classic example where you want to astral someone to get them out of the fight and stop them from CS or whatever. In that situation, the trade is like double raise. And similarly, like if Supreme chooses to run at Dendi, the trades are less likely to be favorable because the raises. Like if he predicts that and he just forces raises, Supreme can never run at him without support.
Yeah, I think I like the NiP draft a little bit more though. It's just got.
It's just
good
too much
sustain. It's a lot of really effective team fight with the Mars. They're going to struggle to get through this life stealer, I think.
To me, I kind of feel like Bates' draft didn't leave room to adjust the Ember pick. I feel like Dendi really didn't want to have to play that in the mid lane against the DP. So, like, they've got this situation where the late game carry isn't going to be anywhere near as strong as NiP's. They have to play at a faster pace, and credit to them, the SF plays into that. He can be that late game carry, he can bounce back, but it's very much about like this early aggression onto taking towers for them.
For them to take this late, the SF needs to get huge.
And in this type of game, another concern is the ability for halberds to come out. Is if you have to be the right clicker on Dendi, you're ranged hero. You're against, I'd say, 3 heroes that can comfortably be with Heaven's Halberd, the Lifestealer, the Mars, and the Phoenix. And as we've seen too often, when you rely on a ranged hero to kind of carry your late game, Heaven's Halberd, there's a reason this item got nerfed. It's still incredibly strong, even with the recipe. Also, so much value as well, because it's just the extra regen. I already said, like, I love seeing it on Lifestealer because it's just ridiculous sustain. But
yeah.
It combines with that whole healing strat that NiP have going on, right?
So much healing. They're like a hospital strat.
Yeah, it's kind of like to make it like a StarCraft type reference, right? It's like you just have crap tons of medics and you're not killing anyone, but no one on your team's dying.
That's how I used to love that. Like when you've got 4 Marines left and 12 medevacs.
Now I can focus their healing. You'll never beat me because I'll never die. Sure, you won't die.
Oh
but
no,
whatevs.
I've died.
Uh-oh, they have banelings. All right, runes. Looks like it's gonna be 2 apiece.
2 apiece. You've always got to remember who's Misha's playing for.
It's always fun with that, right? I think my favorite one today is Lil with IDC. Like, who cares about team names? They're irrelevant.
They're a little relevant. You care, Lil. We know you care. You're not fooling anybody, mate.
We remember your Twitter posts. I think the bot lane should be kind of interesting. I don't know if you're ever going to aggressively Shadow Earth. Like, it always feels bad anyway, unless you're not being pressured, but it's a Phoenix. You're going to be pressured into regenning up every time.
It's a very defensive... I mean, that's the problem with Warlock. It's so defensive.
Well, it's all about... You're meant to take a lane that should lose and make it not lose. That's how I always envision it. We've seen a lot of POS 5s try and make it more about winning off the back of Fatal Bonds. I'm not gonna lie, Fatal Bonds is kind of ridiculous, even at level 1. Like,
it's a ludicrous spell.
The search range, I think, is the most absurd buff it got. Like, it kind of needed it, but my god, is it strong. Like, I can't remember what the exact search range is. It's a few hundred units, though, so it always finds
Yeah, it's huge.
And it ripples across, so it's like, oh, I found this person far. Oh, I found this person far away as well. Whereas I think originally it was based on the cast point, and then it would search out from there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, got one right. Look at me, mum. I know what I'm talking about.
Very proud. How's this mid lane going? You know, he's a little ahead.
So yeah, it's like then he just takes the early raises, gets the early CS, and then he should just be able to deal with the DP. 5 up was searching for a Corey top, by the way. He did get spotted out though. Wondering how much work they're going to get done in this top lane, just because Like, to me, I wouldn't be surprised if we just see 5-up, occasionally arrow Chen creeps. Because if you try to go for, like, a kill onto Charlie, you're going to have to level Dragon Tail early, and there's always going to be the body blocks coming out from creeps. Arrow,
I think that all these lanes are going to be pretty static. There's not a lot of kill potential in any of them, to be honest.
Yeah,
if you're playing with a Chen with Divine Favor first, and you're playing a Warlock with Shadow Word, there's just healing. All there is in these lanes is healing.
And then, like, mid is, they walk up, one Crypt Swarms, the other raises, they nod at each other, they leave. Rinse, repeat. And in that regard, I think Dendi has a bit of an advantage, because he can flash farm quicker, right? So he'll just come eventually and start raising so that Supreme can't attack the tower, and then farm and go.
I reckon 6 minutes for first blood. That's my reckoning.
Ooh. Oh, with a little bet. I will bet you one monster that I will never deliver. So I don't pay for the delivery here. The first blood is going to be grabbed by NiP at 7 minutes.
7 minutes. Oh, I didn't specify what my first blood is.
Yeah, I went really specific, didn't I?
You've gone your bet for higher odds for, so I'd have to give you 2 monsters.
Ooh. I mean, God, we are betting the sweet nectar of life itself.
Big money.
I want one of those life-size cans, though, that we saw on your camera earlier, okay? Just a few liters, please.
A couple of liters a monster. It's all got to be drunk in once, because it doesn't stay good if you leave the can open.
Of course. I would never waste the sweet nectar.
We were
both wrong. I mean, I looked away for a second because I didn't expect it to be that quick. Looks like the arrow must have been on point.
It was very, very much on point.
I just got distracted by the talker monster. My mind was there. My eyes were looking at my cans. Not my headset, my monster cans.
That arrow there was not on point.
Zoning arrow.
Yeah.
Because now Error can't run back. He has to hang around for a few more seconds before he can run back. It's very smart.
Because of the ghost of the arrow. The arrow ghost.
You ever do that? It's like, haha, zoning black hole. They can't go back to heal yet. This is efficiency lost. Anything to justify my failures. In fairness, you know what they say? You miss 100% of the arrows you don't shoot. Saberlight needs to not miss his spear, and he won't. Chrysalis doesn't have aggression on him, though, so Mars is going to go down, and the Flame Guard will get Chrysalis away. Instead, he dives towards Fishman. He says, this is the kill to fish for. Problem is, with the Shadow Word, I don't think so.
If you're me, you miss 100% of the arrows you do shoot, though, unfortunately.
That's why I always shoot them at creeps.
Yeah, well, I suppose so, yeah.
Yeah, technically, like, if you use one of those analytical tools, they might count that as a miss. But to me,
yes,
that's a
true.
hit. That's a monetary gain.
I've managed to miss creeps before.
All right, do you want my tip on how to easily win as Mirana?
Okay, I'm listening.
So pick Mirana 4. Let's say you're on the dire side of this game. And just go to where Ember is right now. And just keep farming this camp. And eventually, Couriers are going to come by and you're going to kill them. And already, you've won the lane.
All right. I'll keep it in mind for next
like
time I play Mirana.
There might be some complications along the way. You might need to do something else occasionally. But the basic strategy, in our pub games at least, is you just stand there and do that. You become a core, and you also ensure their core cannot be. Unless, of course, they completely force your offlaner out. But that's a specific scenario. We're looking for generalizations here. Although, I don't think there's anyone that I'm really surprised CS-wise. I don't think I'm too surprised last year he's got this much CS in the top lane. It's just very hard for a lifesteal to stop him farming. However, with a rotation in and an ambitious TP attempt by last hero, they will net a kill. And with the Exorcism, they should be able to take this tower.
Wasn't that ambitious? He had no idea the mud golems were coming.
Yeah, he's like, what? They just played. That's not fair. Why are they in this one as well? Interesting that Dendi comes here as well. Because you're not going to stop this push. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Look how tanky now Death Prophet is. It's really unnecessary in this situation, but it's almost like you're sending a message for later. By the way,
I think they're, I don't know if they're going to get the tower, unfortunately.
No, they have to back away.
Oh, dear.
I mean,
Well, at
he
least
gets
it's
the denial.
Terosha.
I mean, it was an ambitious TP. You know you're going to aggro Roche straight away with that. So you're kind of praying he doesn't bash you 3 times in a row, which this bad boy, I assure you, in my experiences, he always bashes first hit. But he keeps the tower alive. More importantly, the pressure wasn't on the tier 1 top, mid rather. So if you're Dendi, if you're bait in general, you're like, okay, so they're not actually getting the keys to our jungle anytime soon.
Dendi's going Shreds, I think, or a Dragon Lance. I don't know. He doesn't use his quick buy. Come on. Come on,
He does. He's got a ward right there. This is what a good mid looks like. They remember that they can buy their own goddamn wards and use their own goddamn courier.
He's not going wards, though, is he? That's not his long-term strategy.
Hey, vision wins games, my friend.
It does.
So does getting regen runes when both of you needs it. Oh, Warlock wishes he had one of those. That wasn't even the arena. They've still got arena. I'm kind of waiting for the day that Aether Lens Mars catches on.
Are you? Why?
Have you seen how far you throw a spear?
Yeah, but just because something's far doesn't mean it's good.
So you're suggesting that longer isn't better?
Longer is better, but not that much better. There's other things that I need before length in this particular situation.
If that's what people are telling me. But I'm gonna. So in seriousness though, like there is something to this because if you just hover on Arena of Blood, you see the formation time. That improvement means that it is technically possible for you to spear into arena at max range. The only player I've seen do it so far is Zai though. But if you build an Aether Lens,
it very reliably.
Exactly. But if you build an Aether Lens, the complexity of that disappears.
That's true.
It almost trivializes it.
But you could just not do that.
But you also
that's
get
not
good
that
regen.
necessary.
Like you get good regen as well as the other.
Yeah, it's not disastrous. I'm just saying I don't think it's going to catch on.
We'll see, my friend. We'll see. I'm gonna announce my retirement as a caster. Some people have been waiting for that for a long time. No, not the coaching. I'm gonna become a player. I'm gonna bribe a team to pick me up for one game, in which I will build that Aether Lens and get it on goddamn record before being let go of.
You could, yeah, okay, fair enough. I believe in you.
I've set realistic expectations. I'm gonna bribe someone to let me play a game. Supreme, he's got the wands. He's gonna try and heal up, but the damage is way too much. Bait with good rotation, they'll even snipe the courier.
And Dendi's getting reasonably big here. He's having a good time.
It's a small boy. How can you ever down? Like, have you ever looked at SF before? He's a really squishy hero, but he looks bulky as all hell. There's Arena going down onto Warlock. Notice the change from there's an Arena go. It's the good job, guys. Now he doesn't have to worry about saving his Ember from an Arena for a good 70 seconds. But you take that Saberlight. It's just extra gold. Just chump change at this point.
It's just extra gold. A Warlock is still... Warlocks matter, you know?
They believe they matter. The rest of the team don't believe they matter until they get the most amazing Fatal Bonds in the game that decides the entire game.
Certainly.
We've all been there. I think there's a point for everyone where they underestimate the power of Fatal Bonds. I think my favorite one was a pro game where Timbersaw was full reactive armor and just kept standing in the enemy team, and his whole team died to Fatal Bonds.
And they're going here.
Yep, Mars is low. They're going to infest in him, and now he can chase forward. He has got the spears off the mark. He doesn't hit it onto Dendi, but the infest bomb out. Dendi's been hit on two. Charlie's able to stay on top. In the meantime, DK is already down. Chrysalis does arrive in time to close the kill on the Phoenix, who didn't want to egg. Misha should be chased down as well. The Hand got way too late to save his fellow support's life. However, 5-up. Able to find a pick-off. Does get the kill on the Supreme. With that, Bait can easily push in for this tier 1 tower.
If Saberlight hadn't missed that, it would have gone a lot better. But that was not... It was, if that's your percentage play, if you're going in for a dive under the tier 1 off the pretense that your Mars is going to hit a spear, seems like, you know, make better choices.
With enough cast range, he could throw that across the entire map. It would come back on the other side, and due to like the overlayer, it would move across a bit and come back down and hit him.
Possibly, unless he's going for the patented KillerPigeon build. That's not going to work. I think they probably didn't realize that all of the Bait players were already there. They weren't expecting a 5v5 fight.
No. And they didn't have arena. That's the weird part. Like, I like the idea of just posturing with Infest to go in like that. It's like you've identified someone's there, make a play type thing. But it's a bit rough. Chrysalis being roughed up here, but he's got a remnant. Defensive remnants, folks. Step 1 of playing Ember. Always have one. Be a coward, because cowards live.
Dendy's going for drum build. Kind of like him to do somewhat greedier, but...
I think it's just a really good item, this hero. Like, your two choices are duels or drums. Like, you either go and cast a Fiend or right-click Fiend. This is a right-click Fiend game if I've ever seen one.
That's nice.
Tasty kills. Don't worry, though. Chen got his baby away. Any Chen players know the more painful thing is when your creeps die, which...
Oh, no.
What?
And then he sent it straight back into the breach.
Why? He's like the worst father ever. Good God. I don't want to see what would happen to Nisha's kids.
It's like he's pulled him out of the pool. The kid was drowning. He's picked him up, got him safe and dry, drawn him off, and then thrown him straight back in. Learn to swim, dickhead. Basically what he's saying.
The world is a harsh place. Like, imagine Lion King, but instead of it being his uncle that cast him out, it's just his own goddamn father.
Sink or swim. You stupid tomato.
Oh, that's a big tomato. 5 up. Will not be able to get rid of the egg. Now, this push looks very safe. There's no chance you get ambushed with the lack of trees here. Lifestealer can eventually just push that in. Bait. I mean, they've kind of... You know, it's not a bad trade to get rid of egg like that. But then again, level 1 egg isn't the end of the world. Be lost for NiP. They still have this arena to play around. And I'm interested to see what impact Saberlight's going to have. Long way off with this Blink Dagger. But I kind of like the idea of just infest and then run in. Because there's a lot of movement speed. You are a zoomer.
They're on a touch, as we mentioned earlier, they're on a bit of a timer though, Bait. Because they've got two big mid-game heroes.
Exactly. Like, what was the true late-game carry? It's the SF, right? And SF... Yeah, he can hit very hard, but you don't have any real save for him if something goes wrong. Which is what I like to see with these fragile lineups, right? Like things like a Wyvern or Oracle. Anything that can reset the fight for you. Like, dropping the rock is good and all, but that's more of the kill them quicker type mentality. And they're going to find DP. More or less the last time. This is exactly where they picked them off. The arena's going to go down, and it's really off the mark. Look at Fishman. I will just stand here. My work is done. Die, infidels. They'll even find Charlie for their trouble. 3 dead on the side of NiP, and they're moving forward. Era trying to move away. Chrysalis has got the route to chase this up. Arrow off the mark as the creeps do block it. And we'll be able to keep Era alive. They even use the hand of God to ensure that's the case.
That's a good fight. It's a good ward. That high ground ward here. That is nice. They keep on getting picks there.
You think the ninjas and pajamas would know about this? Like, I think
they should know about it.
I don't think they've even tried to de-ward it. Like, there's no sentries here.
Well, they're probably going to try now, but they don't seem to have any sentries. So
it's such a risky area to play into as well. Like, it's not easy to play into that die triangle. Yours? Well, TP. Nice try, bro. That's what the spear's for. That is a very dead DK. This might be a push onto the tier 1 tower. They did commit the exorcism for this, so that's their expectation. Not much to stop them either, because you already used the rock, used the Rec Room as well. I think you kind of have to let us go. It's greedy not to.
I don't know. They've got stuff. I think they've got resources to deal with this.
Possibly. Yeah, it looks like they're not quick enough in. The glyph's good enough.
They're scared of this SF. He's got a lot of damage. I mean, he's level 12. Maxed raises.
I think the other thing is, like, what's your initiation? There it is. Arena goes down. Fishman gets trapped. Egg on the ground as well. And all of a sudden, Bates' heroes are the ones hitting the ground. There we go. Now they can go in from the tower. You really can't stop this.
If they're out of position, then there you go. But
that's all you need
for that to happen.
Just let them bait themselves, basically. There's a long history of that.
But it was a quick, very, very good, quick move in. They saw them out of position and they turned it into a fight really quickly, which is nice. So well done, Saberlight.
It's a finite window as well, right? Because you know they're going to have the ultimates again soon. So you know they're going to be at full strength. But it does just display the power of this combo of
and
egg
also
and
you
arena.
you know that they're not expecting it because you've used your ultimate in Exorcism. They're probably playing around Exorcism, so you probably know they're not going to go in again. But they did go in again. They surprised you.
Yeah, and this cool thing about NiP's draft is they kind of whip away from relying on Exorcism as they scale, right? Charlie will get Deso, and then he's a force to be reckoned with. Misha will continue to give heals, usually when there's a team there, so it has more relevance than this. But in this situation, it's just a freebie. I can never, like, main Chen. I don't know how Sniff does it to this day. Like, the pain of losing your army and then spending the next 2 to 3 minutes just trying to rebuild that army every time. I guess it just comes down to me needing to be better at protecting my creeps, but still.
It's hard to have people who rely on you, isn't it? To have dependents. That's what adulthood is.
Like, I don't want responsibility. I am a man-child at heart, through and through. I don't want that. Screw that.
I don't think you're just a man-child at heart. I think you're
in every definite. So when we were in Ukraine, I recall this distinct moment that was quite funny to me, where the production staff, I'll pause that for, there's a fight. Egg goes down, Arena as well, and Dendi is not long for this world. Now they can just chase him down for more if they want to. A hunt forward, but no chance they'll find additional after that. And no clear target to pursue after this with the Exorcism, so they'll just back away.
Great, though. You need to turn a kill into a mid into something. They're just going to turn it into a bit of farming. I suppose a kill on the mid is a objective in of itself, but yeah, you know, you could do more.
It's kind of that case of Dendi is everything, right? Which kind of fits like bait because the team's always built around him, right? But like in this draft, if Dendi gets screwed over, doesn't have a game anymore, like what's your follow through? Speaking of follow through, DP as a kill would be a good one. He has got the one though, and the Sun Ray to heal him up. He gets the Spirit Siphons out, he's not a kill. And all of a sudden, they're going to have to abort. They will have to leave last hero behind as they've got the Centaur to stomp him in the face, kill him off.
Well, this is when the surprise attack, when they were least expecting it because of all of your weapons being down, begins to backfire on you. If you go, well, they're never going to expect us to attack because we've got no SF and he's all of our attack. And then attack without him. Unfortunately, you've got no attack.
So what you're saying is, although Dendi is Dendi, technically he is attacker.
I'm just saying that they had no damage.
Yes.
Or not enough damage to kill the DP.
They have, like, no damage there. That was basically everything they have. And also, I think what you just got a preview of, someone we're always reminded of, is why does Phoenix never get a real nerf? He's so strong. As he's going to set up kill. Yours is time to move away.
That was a missed silence, unfortunately, but never mind.
Well, for sure, they could still transition this into either like a Roche or a Tower because they've got Exorcism in 25. Yeah, my point is simply no Phoenix. Vulcan, Dendi rather, in with the BKB into Requiem. Saberlight doesn't even feel safe in his own home as he creates that arena. Is able to be sustained though through the heals. Will go down finally. And Misha? I think he was focusing on his creeps a little bit too much there. He'll be able to walk this one off for the moment, but Dendi is hunting him. They'll move on onto the Supreme as well, as they have got the slows from the Warlock coming out. He has to try and stand in the ground and fight with the Spirit Siphon there. It's not going to be enough. The Sunray won't be able to save him either. Charlie does arrive in, still doesn't have that Deso complete, so he does not have the damage to seal this fight. Instead, he has to run away. You can already see Chrysalis is getting ready for more root time. But not able to hit it.
Dendi is big.
He is big. He is scary. Like, this is your moment, right? I think you got like a 5-minute window where if you don't eliminate Shadow Fiend, you can't really fight. I do think it changes a bit when the Deso is complete on Charlie, because I think he can just munch on this this SF without a worry in the world. But also, keep this in mind, right? If you had the Aether Lens and the Mars, you threw the spear straight away into the arena, you wouldn't have been able to BKB. Of course, the bigger worry as well is the sustain we talked about in NiP. When these fights get long and that BKB gets short for Dendi, it is going to spell trouble, just like it did for DK in the top lane.
Yeah, they are relying on this SFBKB a lot, and it's 9 seconds, so they've got a little while. They've got more time. They've got 5 big fights before it begins to get more tricky.
Yeah.
I would say.
What I want to see them do is use it proactively, because that fight in the mid is a reactionary fight, right? Which means there's no objective immediately afterwards for them. Whereas like NiP, even if they lose these fights, they're playing in a way that they're always positioned to try and look for something afterwards. They don't want to fight on their side of the map. Here's an objective for you. With the DK down, there's no real easy initiation for the side of bait, which means that it's going to be an Aegis in the hands of Charlie. Yeah, it costs them an exorcism, but you can now just wait for it to come back and look to push into these tier 2s.
And he's got his Deso now, so he's going to start hitting significantly harder. Chewing through these supports. Poor old Warlock's not going to survive much longer.
And also there's that worry now that like they have the means to get on top of Dendi. You can see he built the Dragon Lance, right? So he's kind of motive is to like stay on the edge of the fight, be able to burst someone down before they can reach you. But there's always going to be this infest bomb with Saberlight blinking in that immediately closes that gap and then gives Charlie the opportunity to wail on you. Which will get easier once he has his next item as well, because he's going towards that Skull Basher. Like everything that Charlie is building is going to just kind of invalidate the SF in this game. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he queues up a Heaven's Halberd after the Basher.
Yeah, I would expect him to go Abyssal.
It depends whether you feel like you need it, right? Because if you're always going to infest bomb in, you're already on top of your target.
That's true. But if you can Abyssal the SF during his ult,
in his BKB as well,
then that's very effective.
I think it depends on what they feel they need, right? Especially if these BKB charges get shorter, quicker than expected. Easy pick off onto the Chen there, by the way. And now the response coming in as they're looking for the spear opportunity. They mistime it. Now the rock's going to go down. They're going to trap them in. The arena's going to be there. The egg outside of it as well. Supreme stands his ground, but Denny needs to run. That Requiem is defensive I've ever seen one. 5 up is going to die in the meantime. They did buy back on the Chen. It'll be worthwhile as they find last hero as well. Denny pretty fast to get away, though. So Saberlight does have to die as the pokes come out from the Ember in the end. Now it looks like that's all Bait's going to have to expense. They do lose the DK. They do lose the Mirana. But they force the whole combo out.
Chen buyback, though.
Exactly. And also, NiP had to use everything they had.
Pretty much everything they had, yeah.
The only worry I do have is now Supreme's got Exorcism in 5 seconds. So you might just see them push towards this tier 2.
So it's not everything they had. It's some of the things they had.
Everything they had available. Like everyone...
Everything they had available.
Like there was a shout from NiP. They went, everyone who can press a button, press it. And that's the moment where they just all face-palmed their keyboard.
Keyboards, yeah.
Most likely NiP are going to wait for Mars's arena and then they'll look for an Exorcism push. Because I think
it's only 10 seconds away. So.
Yes, it's so low cooldown. Like this has been the weird thing about this hero, right? Is he got nerfed into the ground because of his mana regen, his in as well. So that he got to a point where he didn't really have the ability to use his spells. But the thing that's always kind of remained consistent is arena doesn't have a long cooldown for what it actually does. A lot of the bait are playing out on the map, though. Like, even with this Aegis in the hands of the Lifestealer, they're not hesitating to take the plays to NiP. Oh, no, the spear!
Oh, Saberlight.
Oh, he tried for it. He's been watching too many side replays. Dendi, he's got the BKB. He doesn't even feel the need to use it. On the side, however, Warlock is in a lot of trouble. A bit of bother. It's going to be brought down. Misha should die as well, so trade into the POS 5s. Now the spear, jumping onto Dendi, going to bring him low, but is able to move away with the Hurricane Pike. Refuses to commit the BKB. But the movement in now to punish Saberlight. The egg does go down. Crystallis will look to retreat. 5 up, making the wrong choice to try and attack it. Gets stunned by the Centaurs. Shen even have his impact after his death. And Supreme in the meantime on the side did find the kill onto the DK.
It was a good fight, despite Saberlight's attempt to be a fancy boy.
And you know what I'm going to say? If he had the Aether Lens, he would have cast the arena further away, and that spear would have been game-winning.
I don't think so.
Would have been fight-winning.
It would have been exactly the same if it had an Aether Lens.
Really?
Yeah. I don't believe in your... I'm sorry, Darren, I just do not believe in your ability to theory craft Aether Lens.
What if I told you I'm a 7k player?
Then I would be suspicious.
Alright, yeah, that's What if I told you I'm a 6K player?
You know, maybe a little bit more.
Does it justify what I'm suggesting more?
No, because
Damn it!
you could still be full of crap.
That's not how the Dota community works. The numbers, Mason. That's all that matters.
Yeah, MMR is just a number. Unfortunately, it is a number that means quite a lot.
What was that? Oh, man. I try to remember the name of the video. There's this great video someone released recently about Mason. It's like how to get #1. And it's just literally back-to-back games of him just losing constantly. It's just playing into the meme of like the Mason's best carry in NA. It's the same guy. I think it's the same guy who done the recent, like the free content video. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole, I've forgotten the name of the movie now.
The, from Kingsman.
Yeah, Kingsman. The whole scene where he's just got caught killing everyone.
Were you killed in that, or were you omitted?
No, I don't think I was killed in that.
I wasn't killed.
I
do hope that one day I'll become big enough that I'll be murdered in a video.
Maybe he just loved you too much, but that's the kind of side I'm hitting on, because I don't think I saw Liz get killed. Liz is just too lovable.
Liz would kill them though. It's too.
That's true. It's too unbelievable. Gork will get the crap kicked out of him. Sorry, Gork, but have you seen the muscles on Happy? Oh, true Dota Chad.
I think if there was a battle royale of all Dota talent and players, it would end up between Liz and Fly at the end.
See, I don't know about this, right? Because this is the arguments people always make, and the problem for me is I could just see Liz like trying to help someone and dying for it. I really
that's
could.
Probably true.
Like you're looking for the most sinister person, the kind of the person that just like think Batman, right? When he gets stabbed in the final movie by Rachel Gold's daughter, by Talia. That kind of moment. That's what's gonna win.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to call any Dota player specifically psychopaths, so we'll see. But I do think that Fly would be capable of tearing almost all Dota players and talent literally in half with his bare hands.
I do believe in the power of whoever is a Ricky spammer being a good backstabber, though. So the betrayal is how it always ends. Because maybe Fly befriends someone and he loves them too much to turn on them, and that person's like, "I love you too, bro." And just as they hug, that's when the knife comes out. Really Game of Thrones.
Now, SF is still top net worth here, and they're feeling very comfortable, confident to push.
Gonna move in. Jump straight on to Charlie. They're trying to save the day. Every heal, but it's not enough. He's way too low. They will turn around and bring down the Mirana, but the price is going to be high. Supreme cannot stand up against the damage. Way too much coming out from Crystallis as well. That Deso complete. And
it's just a weirdly overconfident push there.
Yeah. It's a lifesteal on half HP, expecting to not instantaneously get jumped by a lineup that has a lot of mobility.
I admit nothing but my sadness that you're gone.
And that's definitely one way of playing Dota, but that's definitely not how you get your wins.
No, they believed in themselves a little too much there. Someone needs to kind of tell them to buck up, get back down to earth, know your place.
Instead of bucking up, they've done something that rhymed with it.
Yeah.
As a result, Dendi is going to hit buildings pretty hard.
I don't think they can quite take racks here.
They can at least get tower, maybe racks, because they've got
Deso
plus DD. Also, like the only thing they're missing here is presence or effects buildings, because like SFs rarely ever take it these days.
Okay, they are getting. I didn't know.
You underestimated the power of the DD plus the Deso, didn't you? They always do. Also, you don't really think of Ember as this hero is going to click your buildings, right? But with this build, where he's hitting for 250 damage, it's a little bit different. Kind of glad that they're making the Ember 1 work, because I feel like a lot of teams just shy away from it because it doesn't fit into your mindset of what you want your POS 1 to be right now, right? But there is this kind of pseudo right-clicker builds. It's not like when I watch Rajik's pick Timbersaw 1, I go, he's an amazing Timbersaw pick and a Timbersaw player, but you're picking Timbersaw 1.
It does feel that Dendi's built this draft quite a lot around himself, which is good, which is kind of what I almost wanted him to do. It feels like a Dendi draft that's built
that is a missed spear, and that is a fight initiation straight on the area. They're going to bring him down before he can get the chance to use the egg. They're charging up that Requiem. They can't. The bash is coming into effect. Charlie's able to run him down and kill off Dendi. And this Dendi-focused draft might be about to fall apart. However, the damage coming out from the Fatal Bond should be enough to bring him down. Charlie's dead as well. 3 dead on the side of NiP. And Christus can carry this the rest of the way. Supreme with the BKB still run up for the time being. Christus needs to back away, but as soon as it runs out, you're in trouble. Spirit Vessel's there. Rock gets dropped. And the Yules is just buying time for an inevitable death that's coming for Supreme. And once again, Misha just standing there, not sure what he can do anymore.
Saberlight needs to hit his spells. Is my analysis of this.
I love our analysis tonight. Just hit them. Now it's just like a different type of hit. You're not wrong. I am. I don't want to, but I feel like I'm gonna end up asking Saberlight what's up after this because he's had a rough one.
He's had an incredible game.
No, I'm looking forward to that bounce back feeling, right? Where like regardless of this game's outcome, you're just like gonna see a pop off Saberlight game because like he's the type of player that he'll kind of joke about it and kind of beat himself up a little bit, but not in a neglect way, but more like a meme way. But then he'll be like, yeah, I want to win. I'm going to come back.
I believe in Saberlight. He's a good player.
Yeah, he has the right balance of like seriousness and jokiness, if that makes sense.
That's what you need. You need an ability to take yourself seriously and to grow, and also an ability to not. Yeah, because then you get on better with people if you can do that, and that's the second most important skill in Dota.
Yeah, because like the alternative is you become this very tilty person, right? Where you're like, screw that play, I screwed up, yeah, screw this game, and all of a sudden that negative attitude not only makes your impact less, but can ripple into the team. Whereas I could almost imagine Saber like throwing that spear, and then it's just kind of like one of those sitcom music moments, right? It's like, oh, Saberlight. And then it just kind of like pauses on his face going, that's Saberlight.
Well, like the Saved by the Bell theme.
Yes.
Wow, wow.
He's just, what was his name? I can't remember it now. I wanted to say Scooter, but that's How I Met Your Mother. Screech, yeah.
Screech, yeah.
He is the Screech.
Nakes did go Abyssal, by the way. So I think he's just looking to burst down this SF quick.
Yeah, it worked so well in that last fight.
Or the Ember. He just needs a little bit more sustain. I think he needs, I don't know, something like
I think the Heaven's Halberd.
Halberd.
Next.
Yeah.
So you know what this is? I reckon he would have went. I think he would have went Heaven's Halberd before completing the Abyssal, but then he saw Saberlight's spears.
There you go. We need a bit of lockdown here.
Like, okay, how about this? I'll Abyssal them first. They're not moving at that stage, and then you spear them, and that's going to be the moment where the person gets force-staffed away from the spear. This is an awkward wraparound moment where they're just following the breadcrumbs each other has left behind. Supreme. He's got the BKB, but refuses to use it. He gets stunned from the high ground. Now the rock going down. BKB finally goes off. Supreme binds him down. The arena is going to be there. Requiem being charged up, but there's the Abyssal jump in onto Dendy to bring him down. The buyback comes out from Masters. He did go down. He at least got the arena out. The egg does go pop. Lifesteal needs to start healing up right now. He needs to do it fast. The damage is too much. He tries to move away. In the meantime, the buyback's going to come out. Christus does go down to Supreme. Refusing to buy back, though. It's actually the Mirana and Dendy so far. And the Yules is going to be there. They do find the DK in the tree line. Charlie never dies. Supreme, with that exorcism, has the damage to kill him off. And now they can think about Roche. And I don't think Dendy can do anything. And also, I should probably point out, this is one of those, oh no, what have I done? This buyback might lose us the game moments. Because if Dendy now dies...
not a great buyback.
No, then you're done.
I think if they hadn't... I mean, the buyback was reasonably sound, but they just died just way too quickly, and he couldn't get back there in time.
Yeah.
Because his TP was on cooldown, so...
Well, even then, right? He's going to TP to a tier 2 tower. He's still going to arrive late.
Yeah,
like, this isn't the Caster Fiend build where you have Boots of Travel, right? And I don't fault him for that. I think he had to be this build. But now, like, you have to play away and buy 7 minutes. Because if you take a direct fight against this lineup that now has the Aegis and the Cheese, you're probably going to lose the game.
The Nakes just shut him down completely as well, because he abyssaled him during the ult, as you said. And it's just he can't do anything if he's getting abyssaled during his ult. Because then what you're doing, on half health, do you start right-clicking again, or do you start ulting again? It's all the AoE damage you have just gone.
Yeah, you need a... I feel like he needs a Satanic more than a Butterfly here. But I get that he feels... like, it's the pressure, right? He's looking, he's going, we need more damage. We almost had the lifesteal. If I just hit harder, maybe. And by the way, that the Lifestealer, I like what he's doing here. No Heaven's Halberd, because
Oh yeah, the AC is useful.
yeah, like it's gonna give him survivability, it's gonna give him more right clicks, and like that last fight has identified everything that matters to them. It's a case of actually this SF doesn't have survivability, so why would I build a Heaven's Halberd? I'm not worried about his ability to right click. Like I'll just burst him with my Abyssal.
Precisely.
Oh, and that's actually
That.
I was just gonna say that's a good like these are really good items for NiP.
Yeah, really good.
It's like the Havoc Hammer is probably gonna go on the Lifestealer. It's just really good for like quickly clearing waves, scales really well, and also makes you ridiculously tanky. And then
It's
they
good
also
on
got
the
Timeless Relic.
Mars because you can bump people into the arena with it.
Yes, but you see the Mars, right? The priority for Sableye is not being seen. Like this is the poor man's smoke. Or actually, I'd like to call it Smoke 2.0.
I think it's a rich man's smoke.
It is. Wow. I mean, you get it for free, so we're really gonna go rich man.
Yeah, but rich people get more stuff for free, don't they? Because people like them.
Because
they
tax
give them stuff
evasion
for free.
got you. Yeah.
Because that's how it works. That was a spear to nowhere, but never mind.
Scouting spear. See, look, scouting arrow. This is all back and forth. Like, oh, you threw a spear, and although mine says arrow, I'll throw a spear because that is really not an arrow. Ever feel like Mirana should look a lot more swole than she does?
Because of her arrow throwing.
Yeah, like that's a big ass arrow, right? I think even like SF, looking how he is, would struggle to throw that arrow.
Yeah, but she's a magic lady, isn't she? So she's probably got like magic muscles.
Power of the moon. All in all, though, I wonder if NiP, if this was what they were waiting for. Like, they just want the final neutral item before they go. Because there's a big window still. Remember Dendi, that buyback. Also, I don't think he's died since that. So, he definitely hasn't died since that. So, when he goes down, you can just erase the entirety of bait space. Moving in. Tower already gone. Where is your pick? They do have a long stun on this DK because he has got the Timeless Relic, but it's not easy. Supreme uses the Metal Horn just to ensure he can't be stunned. Last hero taking a lot of damage so far. Jump in, spear, there we go. Saberlight, he was just recalibrating his spear. Force stuff gets last hero even deeper though. The bash comes down, he's already down and dead. The arena zones them away. The BKBs have been used. Now Bait don't really have anything left in the chamber. They'll use the glyph. But after that, NiP are just going to move across these lanes. Arrow sidestep. Yeah, they don't have Exorcism, but they do have a Deso Lifestealer, so I'm expecting 2 lanes here. And you see that they still have the egg to play with. They can still go for like the blink in and then the spear back play. Then he has no BKB for a long time. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they literally just jump in, spear him out of the base. Mirana's doing whatever he can. Like 5-up's like, what's my contribution right now? Bounties. That's all I can do. And there you go. They won't even give over Supreme's cheese. Oh, what a wonderful hero Lifestealer is. I just love Lifestealer right now. I can't believe I said that because I've always been that hero for a long time. You remember the Midas Radiance builds? I was like, oh, this hero again. But the change is a horrible time, right?
Yeah.
Like, reminds you when I go Gyrocopter. Meta always, even without I, like, oh god. But I love the changes they've done to Infest. It makes him so much of a more selfless hero because all of a sudden he's kind of like this pseudo support that saves the day, and also saves the day by killing opponents. The spear is there, the Aegis has been reclaimed, but Dendi's gone, and that's his dieback finally. Arena goes down, they activate their BKBs, but it's just a TP away. Fishman's not so lucky though. He's like, wait guys, you left something behind. Don't let that DD Lifestealer touch me.
He's got the AC now. It's really hard to take them down. Because that's what all the Bait had. They had the armor minus advantage, and now that's been negated somewhat.
Yeah, I don't think it was at this stage the biggest concern for Charlie. Because like it's not about surviving his through sustain, right? He's about surviving through you die first. And once he had that Abyssal, that was already the case. You can see the trying to slow down.
Gone for the Havoc Hammer.
Yep. Jump in, Abyssal, 4 staff to control them up, yours as well, but they're already in your base. Maybe you stop them getting mega creeps, but it's a 70-second window where Dendi is still dust.
Yeah, if he hadn't wasted that buyback. But
Imagine
never mind. You live and learn, or not, as the case may be.
Let's see. Let's see if they get a chance to learn in this game. Because these are the Pyjamas, while they do not have the exorcism with the double catapult, they have the opportunity. The arena goes in, straight away on the Mirana. The egg is down, and last hero, he can't hit it. It's protected inside the arena. I don't know if he can move away quick enough. There it is. It stuns him up. Charlie pushes him away. The 4-star will get last hero out and away from this. They're saving the rock for the moment. They will throw it down eventually. It's not good enough, though. Chrysalis is dead. Buyback comes out. They are on the edge of the abyss here, and they're not having any impact. Fishman's ran down by Charlie. In the meantime, they'll go ever deeper. That's going to be dieback on Chrysalis, and that should be game as bait. Even if Dendi is up in 15 seconds, what do? You GG.
Good turnaround. NiP's just stayed calm there, controlled the game, built the right items. They understood how to beat their lineup, and they did so effectively.
Yeah, I think we kind of always felt it was going this way. Like, we hit on in the draft, we hit on in the mid-game. Bait have these timings that can be potent, but they're timings that hit off hard. Like, you're up against this lifestealer who's going to scale better than you. This Phoenix who is ridiculous in late game fights. And it's always this Mars-Phoenix combo as well, right? Like, once you do that egg, inside or outside the arena, depending on where more bait heroes are, you have no option but to retreat. And NiP have a lockdown in this game to ensure you can't even do that.
I think Era played really well this game. Yeah. He healed everyone so much. There were so many times, like Supreme, I was certain he was going to die, and he just survived through the Phoenix Sunray. I mean, Phoenix is an amazing hit pick for so many reasons, but I think Era had a really great game. His eggs almost went off as well, which is exactly what you want from a Phoenix.
Yeah, almost every single one went off. I think there was like one that got picked, and that was about it. And he wasn't using them too sparingly, but he wasn't just committing every time, right? Like, they were balancing their resources as they understood, like, we have these big combos that bait have a very limited number of. They only really have the Warlock. So if we budget these, we can usually come out ahead. And I think this is kind of another example of, like, a bait draft being focused on Dendi. And I kind of want to say, like, while they've done the best they could to make the Ember work as a POS 1, I never really felt like they were open to the idea of it being a POS 2 and then, like, giving Chrysalis the win condition, which is worrying.
It felt Chrysalis didn't really have any focus on him, and Dendi just got controlled a little bit by the Lifestealer. I think as soon as that Abyssal came out, it became very, very difficult for Dendi to play Dota, simply because he was just getting chomped down.
And that's like a big thing, right, at the moment, is a lot of teams are trying to diversify the win condition, right? Like, you think what Secret has, where any of their cores could win the game, sort of thing. Or, like, NiP will have this passing a baton, or this back and forth between Supreme being the win condition or Charlie being the win condition. I almost always feel as if Bait's win condition is Dendi, and that can be a limitation because it makes you predictable and then gives your opponent a clear focus for their efforts on how to win the game.
Not always. I think sometimes they can play around Chrysalis, and sometimes Dendi's a little too sacrificial. I think it's important within a game to have multiple different win conditions within the same game. It feels like in, especially that draft, B8's only win condition was Dendi, so all the NiP had to do was close down the Dendi, and then the game's over. There's no, like, other player who can pop off while all the focus is happening on Dendi. Whereas NiP, both Supreme and Nags, were able to do kind of their own things. If they'd focused entirely on cutting down the Lifestealer, then the Death Prophet would have popped off.
That's a fair point. Actually, I think that's a better way of putting it. You hit it right. It's like this idea that Bait, they prioritize one way. And then if that way falls apart, the game kind of falls apart. And with that, my brain is falling apart. I need to go grab a snack, guys, before we return for the final game of the day, with the second game between Bait and Ninja the Pyjamas. I'll tell you how, like, in need of some food I am. I almost just knocked Monster all over my desk, which...
Oh, dear.
I'm embarrassed to say, sometimes it's a weekly habit. It's usually a monthly habit. It happens at least once a month. But the lesson here, guys, is get yourself either a Monster or some solid food in you, because we're not done. One more game. NiP versus Bait, game 2 coming your way in just